Hey guys, we're going to get to 90s Percentile in just a minute, but first we want to let you know about We Studio's latest offering. Not one, but 2 new episodes of Sync Points, our movie commentary series.
What?
Yeah. I don't know if you heard this, but it's in honor, I don't know if honor is the right word, of the new Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice movie coming out.
Justice is dawning in the Sync Points hallways.
So we've got a Sync Points for Batman, the 1989 Tim Burton, Michael Keaton original.
Okay.
That's coming out March 8th, which is a Tuesday. And then 1 week later, March 15th, another Tuesday, is we're going to do Superman Returns.
All right, and that's currently streaming on HBO Go and HBO Now.
Yeah, Batman's on Netflix, Superman's on HBO. Maybe you have the DVD, maybe you don't, but check those out. And
Jack, I would be willing to pay up to $4 to get both of those commentary tracks.
If you want one, it's $2 each. You want both, $4.
Amazing.
Obviously, an
absolute bargain at any price.
We have hundreds of hours of free content, but this is more to help support the show and pay for bandwidth, all that stuff.
Right. So just buy it and don't even listen to it. We don't care. We just want the $2.
You can use it as a doorstop. I don't know how you could use a intangible audio commentary, but
you'd have to convert it into code and then print it out and then use that stack of paper as a doorstop.
But check out our newest Sync Points as soon as they're out. And if you want other content, there's always the Simpsons podcast.
There is WePodcast.com.
WePodcast.com. WePodcast.com.
And hey, while you're there, if you do want to support the show, click our Amazon links and then just shop like you normally would. That gives us a cut and that keeps the shows free, keeps the content rolling.
Awesome. So let's talk some 90s.
Let's do it.
Thanks, guys.
60 minutes are on the clock, and straight out of We Studios, this is 90s Percentile. My name is Dan.
And my name is Jack, and we're talking everything 90s and maybe everything before and after. With us today is special guest Dan Ozzi.
Hey, guys. Long-time listener.
Long-time listener, first-time guester. So
yes.
Welcome, Dan. Dan, where would people know you from? If they know you at all. I know you personally.
From the street.
From the street.
Or hotels or the street.
Sometimes you're out on the street, and sometimes you're not.
People go, hey, there's Dan Ozzi.
Yeah. People...
Man about town.
Man about town.
Bon vivant and playboy.
Yes.
Dan Ozzi is our guest today.
Co-host of Simpsons Trivia.
Yes, amongst other things.
I was also appeared in the 3rd Austin Powers movie.
You did not.
Come on.
Well, but you do have a book. They just announced it's not coming out anytime soon.
They announced it this week.
You co-written is it a memoir?
It's a memoir about. I wrote it with Laura Jane Grace from Against Me, a band that started in 1997.
All right,
but we will not be talking about that.
No, we will not be.
Actually, I hope that's our random topic, and I'll have so much to say.
That would be great.
That would be kismet.
But what we're doing for the first time, Dan, you are our guest. What we're going to do now, from now on, our guest is going to pick the first topic, and then we'll move on to our random topics.
You can always spin the wheel and just take a chance.
Spin the wheel.
No, I'm not spinning nothing.
Dan
I know what I want to
spin.
talk about.
There's no wheel.
All right, we can make a wheel if we wanted to.
I'm not gonna.
I might not.
I bet we could make a wheel in 50 minutes and have 8 to spare still.
I think we could. But
all right, Jack, I need construction paper, a few markers,
and at least one paper
and basically a wheel that I can spin.
I don't have a wheel, but...
All right. So, Dan, you are our guest. What is our first topic today?
So I've been thinking a lot as over the last 10 years or so about 90s internet pornography.
Okay.
I like that it was around 2006 that you started thinking about 90s.
You know what was great? 90s pornography.
Well, I just think about it a lot because... I don't think there's any shame in saying I avail myself of the pornography that's available online these days. It's free.
If this was a video show, it would come up Dan Ozzi, pornography user.
Shame.
Shame. You
ding,
were asking where people would know me from.
Yeah, there you go. From your rampant pornography use.
Yeah, I'm Balls Guy 69 on Pornhub.
Yeah.
I just picture right now, those Rocky movies and stuff, where they're just cutting around the country to different porn adult shops, and there's just people listening to this podcast. They're gathered around a trash can with a bonfire.
All walk outside.
One of us.
And they're like, yeah, that's Dan Ozzi. He's one of us.
We know who he is.
Made it to the big leagues.
That's right.
But so I think about it a lot because I do avail myself of the pornography, like I said.
The pornographic arts.
But I think about it a lot because there's kids when my family first got dial-up, right? I was like a young, probably 7th grader, 8th grader.
Okay.
And the internet was a much different resource.
And this is what year? This is 97, 98?
Let me think. I was born in 83, and I think we got a computer around 95.
Okay.
Did it have Windows 95?
Yeah. It was like Windows 95 shit,
I
right?
know my computers.
Yeah,
and so we had dial-up, like a lot of people do.
Right.
And I just think about kids now who can
They
just
have it
search
so easy.
anything.
Yeah.
Like on internet porn in the late 90s, you used what was available to you and could be downloaded at a reasonable pace.
Right.
That was the other
And
thing.
could be
too.
kept secret enough. There was no video involved at, at this stage.
And there weren't like websites, I don't think, that you could go to.
It had to have been now, right?
no, there were websites.
Here's what well, do you remember AOL had channels?
Yes, I
It
do
wasn't
remember that.
websites, it was channels.
Yeah, right.
And I remember the way I obtained a lot of this. All right, I want to be clear that I realize how creepy I sound of a 12-year-old.
Okay,
I was a 12-year-old boy. Cut me some slack here, okay?
I cannot wait to hear what you're going to say.
You would go into chat rooms,
Right.
and like hit somebody up and like exchange. They'd be like, "Oh, I have
Okay.
one of Jenny McCarthy," and you're like, "I have one of Carmen Electra. Let us
Wanna
swap
swap?
these photos."
There's one guy in the wrong, completely in the wrong chat room, like, I got a Wade Boggs rookie. Oh my god!
But it was like to get a picture.
Yeah.
We're talking about like a 14-minute
Yeah,
commitment.
it was a long
and then somebody
time.
picks up the phone, and that's it.
Yeah, that ruined. Yeah, right. You pick up the phone and the internet connection
My friend
goes,
Tim
yeah.
Meehan, he's on Twitter, Tim Meehan666. He had a great series of
Clearly a
tweets the other
devil
day
worshiper.
where he was talking about how when he's like around my age, and when he was a kid, he was saying that a kid in his class had like it was like a T1 modem or something, like slightly faster.
Oh, okay.
Slightly faster.
T1 is like
or
very
maybe he
fast.
just like
Super fast,
committed
yeah.
the time at his 128
Sure.
kbps website.
Yeah, right.
But he was like, he would print out like pictures and have them like in a
That is
in a
another
binder.
level.
Oh, yeah, no,
And
that-
would like
that's a-
charge people to like, I don't know if it
Really?
was like have one or look at one that was like in a
Charged to view the
Yeah.
porno
No,
binder.
No, I had friends. They didn't charge, but that's what they did. They would print the photos and then
Right.
use them in
Your
print.
friends
because
are not capitalists,
Because it's
Jack.
just more efficient.
But how crazy was that?
re-downloading.
That it's just like, it's just whatever you want now. It's just anything.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll say this: you, the way you're talking to me is heaven, because I got internet much
You
later.
love waiting for pornography.
No, I got internet much later, so I didn't even have, like, to me, just being able to trade Jenny McCarthy, that would have been great. I literally had 2 Playboys. They weren't even mine. They were my uncle's, and I'd have to sneak into his room when he wasn't home. And,
right.
And for years, I just used the same 2. It was Uma Thurman, and it wasn't even a Playboy spread. They were like paparazzi photos of her on a nude beach. Yeah,
I think like
I don't think she gave consent. So
I
it was-
think like I honestly think it's healthy for kids now to have like they can watch
exposure
like
to this
whatever
stuff.
anal sex or like through
Well,
whatever they
I think children should watch anal
Like
sex.
listen to what perverts we sounded like. Jack would like, yeah, I would go into my uncle's room.
Yeah. Well,
I
that's
would, a
Jack
kid at
sounds-
school would give me binders of women that he
that's
printed
true.
out.
I
Like,
just wanted to mention real
like-
quick, the second Playboy was Jenny McCarthy.
Yeah,
ironically,
yeah.
But
I
she
had
had like
that one.
She had
I-
puppies and she. They
I
were like,
100% know what you're talking about, and I had that too.
I just want to point out Jack's story was a little stranger because it was these unconsensual photos of
well, but it's
women.
Playboy.
Oh, they were in Playboy.
This was
I
a thing.
thought he just
No,
had,
I
like-
didn't like invent
Maybe-
the
I don't
fattening
think
at the
Playboy
end.
published.
Maybe
Well,
your uncle went to the beach
anyways.
when Uma Thurman was
But
there.
I think like porn, I don't know about like age of watching porn, but I think
Right.
porn is a healthy.
We're none of us parents.
If you can use it in a rational way, it is a healthy way. It's a healthy thing that you can get out of your system. But like I
Yeah.
think it turned me into a huge pervert.
I
as a kid.
100% agree that it's
I agree that
healthy,
Dan is a huge pervert.
That it's a healthy thing, but, and I'm not no psychologist, I don't know. I feel like it could be bad for them to have so much exposure to the worst and most radical
I
kinds of
would
porn,
never leave my
because-
room now.
Well,
if I was a 13-year-old
I'm
kid,
just
I would
saying-
never
I'm
ever.
just saying, if you're a 16-year-old
I hardly
girl,
leave
if
my
you're,
room as
if
it
you're a
is.
16-year-old girl and a 16-year-old boy, there might be so much more higher expectations of the girl now, because the
Sure.
boy is just like, oh, you know, I should be able to go as hard as I can into your butt and then put it in your mouth, and like all this stuff. Whereas like, because I was looking and we were all looking at still images on Playboy, we probably were
right.
just like,
there was more imagination to it.
Yes.
yeah. So I just feel like the expectations are a lot cruder and
Sure.
higher for teenage girls who aren't ready for that. I mean, look, if you're in your 20s and you're into that shit, that's great. You know, people have different
Right,
fetishes. And,
After
and
that, if you're 30s, it's disgusting.
behind closed doors, people have some have wild imaginations,
there's some
and there's
kinky
nothing,
stuff.
and that can be healthy. It
Yeah,
can be
of
very
course.
healthy. But I don't think it's necessarily healthy to get that kinky that young.
No, I think that's a good point. I agree with you. I don't know how it's affecting teenagers. I don't associate with
Yeah,
teenagers.
we're not
'cause
psychiatrists.
They're
Here's-
disgusting.
Here's my favorite part of the whole
Yeah.
kid. My favorite part of children watching pornography is that like sometimes you'll go to a website and it'll be like, "Are you over 18?" And you're just like,
yeah, right.
Yes.
Yes, I am. All right.
But then if they like really want to hit you, they'll be like, "Okay, well then what's your birthday?"
Enter your birthday.
Yeah. And so you pick it. But I would love to see the kid who's so honest. It's just like, no, you got me.
He puts it his actual birthday. And it's like, sorry.
And they're all,
Oh, shucks.
It's amazing. I'm assuming they do that because they're mandated to by law to ask. But
Yes.
what's the point of that law
Right.
if it's so unenforceable?
Well,
yeah, Dan, you're a lawyer.
it's tough because
You went to porn law school.
I went to the pornographic law school.
You majored in
yes.
porn law.
Porn
I
you.
did. It's tough because, minors aren't supposed to have access to certain materials that would be deemed pornographic. And a lot of websites aren't hosted in the U.S., and it becomes an issue of how do you even police that. So I think a lot of them probably do that voluntarily as just like, oh, what we said. Like, it was on the user who said they were 18.
On that real quick tangent.
13-year-old boys are usually so reliable.
Yeah,
when
no, definitely not. But
Are
you're
we
right, it's very
supposed to-
unenforceable.
Are we supposed to report things that we buy on Amazon and pay the state tax? Is that something we're legally supposed to do that nobody does?
No, but Amazon now charges tax in New York.
All right, but certain things online, I was reading somewhere recently that they're trying to enforce. States are trying to enforce better taxes on internet things bought on the internet from different states.
That I don't really know much about, but I would say that it would be the person, the entity you're
seller's
buying from. Right. It's not on you.
Okay. Because I was just trying to imagine what if you were to follow the law, what would you do? Like just call up the IRS and be like, by the way, I bought
Maybe
these
you are supposed
socks.
to report some
That's what I'm saying. I
out-of-state
think you
purchases.
do.
You're supposed to out-of-state earnings. This is not
out-of-state
We don't need
earnings.
to talk. I need to file my taxes.
Clearly
after
it
I
this.
don't want to hear about
it's-
any of this.
yeah,
I came
me
to
neither.
talk about porn. And
Yeah.
I find it incredibly interesting. I'm sure I'm not alone.
The
Wait.
internal rump sex.
I was
No turtle rump sex.
I was on a friend's podcast called. I'm sorry to betray you, but I was on a
How
friend's
dare you.
podcast called "Going Off Track."
Jack, we'll bleep that out.
And my friend Bleep was on. My friend Brendan
Was recording a bleep.
My
Real
friend
bleep.
Brendan made a good point. He was like, "Is it just me, or like when I?" He was like, "The loading thing in AOL of like."
Oh yeah.
He's like, "That gave me a hard on." Like, the
I can see
loading
that
bar.
because it's
Just
like
the sound of the
Well,
modem
it's like
dialing.
Pavlov's dog. It's
Yeah.
like you
Right.
know that you're getting to the
Porn
porn.
is just around the corner.
That's actually a really
And also,
fascinating.
like, there was when I remember when so now, like at home, I have my laptop, I have a tablet, I have my
Girlfriend.
iPhone.
Right.
Yeah. I can but at the time,
that's for special occasions.
at the time, I was using the family computer,
yes.
which is like also my. So
You had to be sneaky about
my
it.
whole family used it, but it was at the time too where computers were new to all of us, like even kids.
Yeah.
And like it was like I'm not sure how to 100% hide these files.
Yeah.
Like you just had to stay one step ahead of
You
your
just,
parents.
Yeah, you just have to know
Yeah.
slightly more than your parents do.
I,
That is it.
I was lucky in that the family computer was pretty much my computer.
Right.
My mom and my sister didn't really use it. But later in life, even though I had my own laptop, like in college and stuff, I did feel the need to, when I was still downloading images. I think now it's like movies, you just stream everything. But
Yeah.
at the time when I was downloading stuff, I did feel the need to hide it. So I put it in a folder labeled documentaries. Because it's
No one's gonna go
no
on
one wants
that.
to watch your documentaries.
No one wants to look in there. Nobody gives a shit. Plus,
Yeah.
it's technically true. It's nonfiction.
Yeah, and I also watch documentaries, to become aroused. Certain ones are very erotic. Supersize Me, that was very sexual.
title,
Supersized Me, supersized me, folks.
Yeah.
Taxi
Sorry.
to the backside.
The thin
yeah.
white line of semen.
What a world! I often try to think of
Fahrenheit
how
69.
I would just adjust now as if I was a 13-year-old.
Yeah, and
it's too much.
It's too much.
being,
It's
being
too much.
slightly serious, yeah, it must be because it's very difficult to block that stuff from the kids. It's everywhere. Like,
Right, yeah.
a
you can't-
huge
and
percentage
even
of the
if-
internet
even
is
like
pornography.
I don't honestly know a lot of 13-year-old boys, so I don't
Yeah.
know at what age they are like getting iPhones now. But I think by like 13, 14,
They
like,
have them,
they
yeah.
have
Oh,
them.
they have them at 13,
So like,
yeah.
how do you block them from looking at
And
it on their
well,
phone?
it's not even just
You
porno
can't.
because now they're, from what I understand, and I'm generalizing here, I think a lot of them like Snapchat each other's
Sure, yeah,
genitals and
sure.
stuff, and that like
Right.
I remember.
I wonder
once,
if porn is like boring to
yeah,
them.
that's what I'm saying.
Probably.
Probably,
Maybe.
right?
Like I remember
Man.
once in high school or maybe late junior high, there was a story that a bunch of kids got together to play Truth or Dare, and one girl showed her boobs, or I think it was actually she showed her genitals, and I was so jealous that I wasn't there because the idea of just seeing one person's the idea of just seeing one girl naked like that early was just such a radical idea.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they're probably just like
Nowadays, they're
tech-
just
yeah, just
they're doing what Dan was doing, but with like people they know.
yeah,
Just like
exactly,
trading naked
exactly.
photos.
They're just exactly.
Which I wonder if Snapchat. This is a somewhat serious topic. Like if Snapchat has problems with. I know they're not supposed to
child
store
pornography,
images,
yeah.
but
Well,
yeah, child pornography. Exactly.
I don't know if I'm even supposed to talk about this because it was classified, but fuck it, I don't care.
Oh.
Somebody that I know that works at Twitter was saying that like
They've had issues with
programs
this.
set up that can like detect like, oh, this is a hand job, this is like, and
Oh my
it can
God.
like but all of the stuff
Who's programming the hand job finder?
like a team of like French guys, like these. I'm swear to God,
Of course they're
I'm
friends.
hoping 60 years in the future there's like an imitation game type biopic about the group of people that invented the hand job algorithm.
Oh, absolutely.
the any of the stuff that's like child pornography,
Yeah,
like the
that's gotta
FBI
go.
comes and picks those drives up.
Wait, so it's not just any
Jesus.
hand job; it's child hand
well,
jobs.
they
like if there's hair on the knuckles, they say, "Okay, that's an adult."
Like once they find
Jesus.
child pornography, like Twitter does not do anything. Like the FBI takes that.
but how can they
Yeah.
tell the difference between child and
It's somebody's job, and they have like mandatory like therapy sessions for those.
strange job.
It's like mandatory therapy.
What if
for
you
them
have
too.
your Gary Coleman disease and you have a juvenile
Look,
hand and you show a picture of your hand?
That's that's not our job. That's somebody's
That's
job.
this guy
That's
on
the
Twitter
FBI's
and
job.
Snapchat and
That's
FBI.
why you got to believe in big government. You know.
Man.
So
And
that
then
someone
also-
else is responsible for the child
for
porn.
figuring out what's a child hand
very
job.
early
Yeah.
days, like it took forever just to download a photo, and then sometimes
Yeah.
your mom would pick up the phone,
Yep.
and that would kill it. The idea of a movie was just like
Mind
absurd.
blowing. Yeah, I would download Simpsons clips.
I was gonna say
Let's be
Simpsons
PG.
porn.
Yeah, I would get that too. Don't worry about it.
Simpsons
No,
clips.
like short QuickTime clips of like a minute of The Simpsons, and they would take hours.
and it
was
would
the kind
be
of thing
like a quarter of your computer's
you
hard
have
drive
to
space.
do it overnight because no one could use the phone. Like
Yeah.
you would leave it down there. I remember I downloaded The Spirit of Christmas, the South Park, the original
Oh, yeah,
South
yeah,
Park
sure.
thing. That's like a 5-minute video short. I downloaded a QuickTime file of it in probably 1998. It took 20 hours, maybe 15.
It's funny.
And also that was like you paid your telephone bill
Yeah.
by the minute too. So it was just
I didn't pay it, but
Yeah,
my
sure.
parents
No,
did.
I
really,
didn't.
really, you also had on top of your
No.
AOL bill, you'd
well,
have to pay
I think,
phone.
I
Yeah.
think this was
I never had AOL.
it used your phone.
It did use your phone line, but this was late enough into the 90s where we didn't get Roadrunner yet, but I think we did have a second
You had a
phone
second line.
Yeah, and it wasn't a pay per minute line because it was specifically for internet. That was a thing that existed in the 90s. We had a lot of problems with the internet back in the day.
I remember when I went to college, every dorm came equipped with a phone jack to plug into 56K. Like
Yeah,
that.
Yeah,
right.
but they had because when I was in college, which was a little bit
had
before you,
cable.
it was landline.
Yeah, we had cable,
Yeah.
but
It was not
but they
super
still
fast, but-
thought that having a 56K jack was like,
That's
a
what they called
service-
you in college, 56K jack.
56K.
They still thought that was a serviceable bare minimum.
Did you guys have this in college? I don't know why this became like an unspoken contest.
Yeah.
But it was like an unspoken contest to see, like, that was again like when people started using like cable lines.
Yeah,
and
right.
like you had
Actual
AIM,
internet.
You had AIM open all the time.
Yeah.
It was like for some reason like this weird unspoken contest to see who was online the longest. Like sometimes it would be like,
yeah.
oh, Brian was online for 13 days, and
I
you're
do
like,
remember-
oh my god.
I
No,
do
we
remember
never
like
had
looking
anything
for
like that.
people and seeing like 26 days.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Good
You're like,
God.
what?
Like, shut your computer
I
off.
don't know. I just always left my aim on 24/7 up
Right,
until
yeah.
like
But that's the
maybe,
thing. It's like
3
you
years
might
ago.
have had like a disruption that like made it.
Oh, and that
reset
was
it.
Right.
who got disrupted.
So-
but back to the T1 thing. I remember when I would download songs on Napster,
seen this boy?
and it would take like 7-8 minutes.
Do I make you horny, baby?
It would take like 7-8 minutes to download a song, and I would look for T1 connections because they download faster. I
Right,
always
right,
had
right.
this jealousy of who I was downloading the music from. I was like, fuck this guy with his
Oh
T1
yeah,
modem.
I always
T1
imagine them
modem.
being like some like the movie Hackers. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm taking this like fucking Kanye West song from this like hacker genius.
You're taking it from Gene Hackman in
Yeah.
Enemy of the State. A lot of
You have something they want.
Kanye West.
It's a Kanye West song. Oh man,
yeah.
but yeah, it was different in the '90s, and I don't know how it's going to affect kids today and even kids in the future. Like it's just going to become
Well, you got
more
VR
and
porn.
more.
VR porn just
Not to
got a big thing
drag this
week.
into the last podcast that
Do
I was
it.
on that I was talking about, but
Let's
we
do it.
started talking about dildonics.
We're better than them.
What's a dildonic?
I sadly know what that is.
Dildonics, Jack, is basically like
me.
a kind of like a fleshlight that hooks up to your computer.
A fleshlight
Yeah.
is a rubber dildo.
A fleshlight is a rubber vagina. That
Rubber
you fuck.
vagina. Yeah, you fuck
Why
it.
is it called a light?
Because you
It
put
looks like a
you put it in a
flashlight,
flashlight,
but
or
it's
that
a
was
flash,
how
and
it
you
used
ba-
to be.
Yeah.
It's a rubber vagina that you
Picture
put
what
your-
a flashlight
Like
is.
you're
Yeah.
sticking
And
your
instead
dick in
of
a
the li-
flashlight, but it's molded
It
to
had-
feel
it
like a
had-
vagina.
Yeah.
Oh, but it's not shaped like a vagina.
It's also been called a pocket pussy.
Because I
if
remember,
that helps you.
I remember like years and years ago, I knew it was a guy who ordered a mold of a porn star's vagina, and he had like a latex, like basically
That's disgusting.
It was like her belly button to her thighs, and you could
Who
fuck that.
wants to
Wait.
fuck a disembodied torso?
I think also those they
It
have
did
that you
feel
like
nice.
fill with like water
Oh,
or
no.
something like that. Too.
Well, that's how vaginas feel. It's just like sacks of
Just like
water.
a sack
So-
of water, kids.
Wait, okay, so
Or
dildonics
so I've been told.
is so you got what a fleshlight is now,
Yes,
basically.
okay.
Okay, so it's basically that, but it's hooked up online, and you
Right.
can basically fuck somebody through the
Oh,
internet.
that's cool.
Yeah.
That's a cool idea.
Once I heard
Interesting.
this, I was like, I must know everything about it.
Wait,
Yeah.
It's just that work was
All right,
just like,
so,
but I didn't know the name for it, so I thought it was I'm like looking like virtual reality.
electro-fucking. All right.
Yeah, and no virtual reality sex is gonna come up. It's something totally different.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Dildonics is
so
the-
obviously you can do this with strangers, and I could see the appeal to that. But let's say you're using it for a long distance relationship.
Sure.
Your girlfriend's in California for 6 months. So I stick my thing in the fleshlight. What is she's feeling?
She's using some sort of like dildo thing.
I
that's
don't-
hooked
I
up
don't-
to
I
your
don't
penis.
know what happens
So
the
if
other
I
end
put
of-
pressure, let's say to the left, she's gonna feel pressure to
Yes,
the
that
left.
is, that is the idea.
Wow, that's
It's really
cool.
haptic technology is like what they call it for not just for fucking, but also like to have pressure on your phone so that you feel it
that's
push
the
back.
thing. I learned so much from this fucking podcast. My
Yeah.
friend Brendan knew a lot about it.
Okay.
Brendan Kelly, if you're listening,
He can be on our show if he wants. We could just save
yeah.
cut out the middleman.
Yeah.
There's a, but he was saying, oh no, it was this guy Derek, I think, who knew about it.
Ugh, don't get me started on Derek.
Derek is the drummer for the band The Alkaline Trio,
Oh,
and he
alright.
knew all about this amazingly. But the person who invented it, I believe, was the person who invented like the PlayStation controller. Like you know how it vibrates. and
Yeah,
whatever?
yeah, yeah.
Like the technology was
The DualShock
originally
technology.
The
right.
rumble pack?
The technology was like originally invented for that, so you would feel things in real time.
Right.
And I think somebody like used it for fucking, as happens a lot in our technology.
You could have used a PlayStation controller as a vibrator
I
fairly
mean, that's
easily.
a great use, but I feel like you could also give your loved one a back rub. Like if you put like a shoulder thing on, you could do arm wrestling
but,
online.
But,
Right,
But,
I mean,
but pornography.
Can't wait till we get to online arm wrestling.
but sex like advances all of the technology that
It's
we.
true. It
that
does,
we
especially
have,
when
yeah.
it comes to visual
Digital
media,
media. Mhm. Yeah.
because they pushed the VHS over Betamax,
Yeah.
they pushed
DVD
HD,
over
they pushed
Laserdisc.
DVD. Yeah, it's funny because I was talking to the president of my
Of
company.
porn. The president of porn.
No. My school, my film school that I work for, we're getting into VR and stuff. And I brought in my Google Cardboard to show him, and I said something, and he made a face like, "Oh, that wasn't appropriate." But I was just like, yeah. We were talking about gamers, and it's like, yeah, gamers are going to push VR first because they're the ones who are willing to spend this kind of money on this stuff, and
True.
they'll keep the industry alive until it's cheap enough for the rest of us to keep up.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, no, gaming and porn is really going to be what pushes VR. And like as soon as I said porn, it's like, well, I'm
sexless-
done with this
Well,
conversation.
yep.
The sexless nerds of the world are going to be mapping out the rest of our.
Well, the sexless nerds of the world, pornography.
Speaking of,
Ano- well,
That's
another
a bad,
thing they
that's
pushed
a
it
bad,
for.
I know you're just joking, but
Right.
they're not sexless nerds because you can have plenty of sex with your partner and still get a kick out of porn.
Right. That's not my point. That's not what I'm talking about.
Dan looks at a lot of porn while his wife is away. That's all I'm saying.
She's coming home right now as we speak.
I hope you didn't leave the video running.
I may have to go home real quick. But my point was
The cats are inside your dildonic right now.
Oh, yeah. So,
imagine fucking a cat and not knowing it through your dildonics.
That would be a
No.
great frat prank to like you
That's
tell
like the
you-
modern
Yeah,
day, like
that would be a great
That's like the
prank.
modern day, like dog lick peanut butter off your balls.
Yeah,
It's like the
yeah,
dog,
yeah.
like
I know
fuck
you
your
fucked
dil-
the cat.
Yeah, like no, you're having sex with a hot girl right now, and meanwhile you're just like you're just putting it in like an old homeless guy. Or something.
Oh.
deeply disturbing. This turned into a very disturbing episode. The point I was
It's
trying
really
to
like
make.
an e-glory hole. I get it now.
The point I was trying to make is that pornography also pushed credit card purchases online, and like the foundation of our online economy started. You needed to credit card access to get to pornography.
Can I say
that's
that
interesting.
America, this country, this nation owes a great deal of literal credit to
Yeah.
the pornography industry?
You're joking, but you're not wrong.
I'm not.
Yeah.
No, we owe a
And-
great deal of gratitude.
And
to
this is a country that is generally very
Jack, search Dildonics,
buttoned
sorry.
up about sex and
I don't know if Dildonics is going to come up in Wikipedia.
Oh, I was going to just search internet pornography. No, I briefly did consider like going into the filmmaking side of pornography outside of film school, just because it really had such a stigma to it that it supposedly would kill your career.
It seems like a horrible industry to be a part of.
But the money they make is just
My
incredible.
friend,
Well, I don't
my
think
friend
that's
Chris
true
worked
anymore.
in what he calls adult film He was like designing sets and all this shit. He is a big fan of the pornographic arts in the sense that
Well,
he is a big.
apparently.
A friend of mine who was a he's our age. He was a computer programmer back when we still
Oh
were
my
using
God.
56K. And he and a couple guys in their late teens just started a porn website. They got porn from other sources. They didn't film the porn. They just distributed it, and they made so much money.
Yeah, I'm
Jack,
sure. There's
maybe-
always money to be made in
it's-
pornography.
But he was like 17 and he was bringing in 5 figures.
But I feel
we
like
have
now.
Dildonics on Wikipedia.
Oh,
I would
so
like to
it's
see
teledildonics.
the Google awards for dildos.
Yeah,
Ars
Orgasmatron.
Electronica is one of the C also.
Oh, have you guys ever been to Museum of Sex in
No.
I have not.
I've been meaning to go.
Wait,
I'm
no,
curious.
Jack, search Google for Dildonics.
Okay, I just wanted to see what Ars
Well,
Electronica
while you're
was.
looking that up, I wanted to just say you said that there's a lot of money to be made in porn. I don't know if that's true anymore. In the 90s, it probably
because
was.
it's been so decentralized.
Right. I mean,
I think it's still
I've never
pretty
paid
profitable.
for pornography in my life.
Yeah, but I
But
think
there's lots of ads and shit that
I
on that
guess.
stream. Like when you go to
What
a
are the
porn site
images
and
for
then
this?
suddenly you gotta like weed through 800
yeah,
pop-ups and
they're not doing poorly. It's such a
all right.
huge industry.
Maybe it's
No,
smaller.
not Urban
I don't know.
Dictionary. Go
I
to
think the performers are probably not making a lot of money.
I forget what magazine it was, but I just recently read on Flipboard.
No, Jack, go to the image
all right,
search for it. Oh
But I just recently read this magazine article about Pornhub, and it was fascinating because they
Yeah.
were basically the office Pornhub.
Yeah.
And it's like in an office building, and
I always watch
because they're
Pornhub
not
at the
shooting
office.
the porn there, and it's mostly computer programmers who have nothing to do with it,
Right.
nothing to do with adult video, and
Yeah.
it's a lot of just internet
I
maintenance.
don't think Pornhub makes any of their content. It's just all uploaded
And
or.
it's just such a fascinating
They're an
idea,
aggregate
but
site.
they're making
Yeah.
so much money, and they got top of the line computer programmers.
There's
they
a
got-
hub for porn.
The sites not Pornhub. The sites are like what's that network of porn websites like?
And-
I
NBC.
wouldn't know.
NBC.
What is it called?
Pornhub?
No, not Pornhub. Like what's the
Because
like bang?
Pornhub owns like all those other ones, like RedTube.
Are you talking about Brazzers?
Yeah, Brazzers. Brazzers is
that?
the one that
I'm
does the
sad
work.
that I knew
What's
that.
Brazzers?
Brazzers is like the people who actually make the porn.
Oh,
Right.
the actual directors and
Like the companies that film and cast.
It's like a
and-
vivid video type
Yeah, yeah.
thing.
okay.
What's going on with Dildonics images
Is it
here?
that or is it like the Academy?
No.
Or
It's
like
it's a company that,
Okay.
that you like
See?
buy porn from them.
Well, these are some varied
That's
images
that's
here.
just
This is
a pipe.
yeah. That's
That's
this
just
picture
is-
of a pipe.
There's a bloody
hand.
a dead
What the
man.
hell?
There's a corpse for some reason.
Yeah, there's
this is not good
some
podcasting.
questionable results for Dildonics.
We Google image search teledildonics.
I feel bad
or
for this
Dildonics.
guy who shows
Maybe
up.
it's teledildonics.
I don't know what's coming up.
Is that what
Why
it
would
is?
A lot of fake
why would-
penises are coming up.
why
That's
would
for sure.
regular Dildonics be a big difference.
Pretty soon you'll be in the self-driving car.
Probably should have put private
Fucking
browsing.
somebody.
Look.
I really should have put private browsing on before we started this.
This is like, what's that game called? That one.
Look at this.
Portal.
Look at
Yeah, this is like Portal.
Oh, what the fuck?
That's got to be Photoshop. She wouldn't go to a prom or whatever in just her underwear.
Is this child pornography? What are you looking up right
I
now?
don't think so. It
We
looks like
just landed ourselves
I'm
in
pretty
big
sure
trouble.
that's an album cover based on that.
Oh.
Okay, Boy Crisis. I don't know
Wait,
what
that was an
is.
album called Teledildonics?
Maybe. It's
By-
Boy
by
Crisis
yeah.
Teledildonics. That's
Interesting.
the album cover we're looking at. It's
Jack is
Doesn't seem
afraid to go
appropriate.
into the deep.
I'm not going to click the link. No, I do not want the FBI coming. Hey, look, it's got a Wii control.
Yeah.
huh. All right, this is not.
I just
Yeah.
like
This is
that
not a
every
visual show.
I love that every like
You're missing out, gang.
I like
Is that
that every
Bebop? What is that?
It does kind of look like
every
Bebop
single
from
like
Ninja Turtles.
technological advancement that we make as a society. Do
Yeah.
I make you horny, Jack? Please.
Do I make you horny, baby?
We set up an Austin Powers thing because we thought we were going to talk about it.
I don't think we needed to explain that.
that.
I like how every
We don't need that.
technological
90s porn.
advancement
Yeah.
society makes.
Yeah.
The next guy just looks at it and goes, and how can we fuck
Yeah,
it?
how can we fuck this?
Behave.
God, I
Oh,
love
boy.
him so much.
What a world we're living in, guys.
So we've been talking a lot about how we viewed porn. Like I said,
Now, we're kind of talking about future porn now.
I had two magazines.
Yeah, I reel it back
you
to
guys
90s.
had your still images and stuff on the internet.
Yeah.
So you guys are not.
I
of
wasn't
that-
a non-magazine guy, by
So I was
the
going
way.
to say,
I was
like,
also not a
like
non-magazine
we had a
guy.
guy last week on Nick Noga, and we talked about when me and him went to the Adult Video Awards, and he's of a certain group of people where they know the porn stars' names and they know them by face, and they're like celebrities.
Their
to them.
real names or their porn
No, their
star
porn
names?
He knows their real names, their social security numbers. He knows where
Yeah,
they
but
live.
I'm saying there is a distinct part of culture where there's a lot of people who've treated it like that, whether they're celebrities
Well,
and
some people are into
Porn
pornography
stars?
the way that we're into like comics or
comic book
movies.
movies and games and stuff. Yeah, exactly. I'm just wondering if you're one
But
of
that's
those
a
people.
weird. No, I'm not one of those people at all.
And I don't mean that in a derogatory sense at all.
I do. Those
Well,
people are weird.
They're not. They're not.
It's a little weird because porn is such a solitary activity to me.
Right.
So like, while I could talk to you guys about comic books, I don't think I have
that's a solitary activity.
I don't think No, not really.
You're
'cause,
reading it by
you can
yourself.
talk
Well,
about,
no, but there's a community around
Well,
talking
so
about the
there's
story.
a community around
never-
talking about the
There
porn
is,
stars.
but the
I would-
act of reading a comic is much different than masturbating to pornography.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it is
I
much
don't
different.
think in my life I've ever asked a friend, male or otherwise, like, hey, what do you think of Lisa Ann? Like, I don't want to know their opinion.
But you just said you're not one of those people. I'm saying some people probably get a huge interest in like comparing.
Jack,
porn
have you ever
stars.
read the comments on Pornhub?
No, why would I?
I want to know who is like leaving. Who has like an account to leave comments on Pornhub?
If you ever get the chance, oh my God, look at the comments.
I
on
have-
Pornhub.
I've seen
They're
some of the
amazing.
comments.
The extremely homophobic. Whenever there's two guys like fucking a
They
girl
have
in
same
the
room.
billions
same
of
room.
videos to choose from. Why are they
I
picking
know,
the one with two
because,
guys?
well,
in it?
maybe they're trying to say something else, but I don't know. Also, why does I assume that websites like Pornhub have share buttons on the videos? Who is sharing
Yeah.
this on Facebook?
Oh, my followers
Like,
are
you know
gonna
what?
dig this shit.
My brother would love this. I gotta share it.
Make you Randy.
Oh boy.
But that's the thing is like, I shagged her rotten is right there.
Oprah.
Why on the soundboard is there just an Oprah
you
sound
never know
effect?
when you're going to need it.
You never know.
Oprah.
There you go. That was the perfect time.
Who's the president of Harpo Entertainment?
Oprah.
Thank you, Austin.
Thank you, Austin. Crikey.
What a world we're in.
Crikey.
So, anyways,
Yeah. So, what else do we want to say about '90s porn?
I think I said all, but I'll just say this too. I feel like there were a lot of celebrities, specifically female,
In the '90s.
in the 90s who benefited from the porn boom. Jenny McCarthy,
Right.
Carmen Electra, Daisy Fuentes.
Did she do porn?
They were
No,
all,
they weren't.
They were all
it was
Playboy
porn. It was
models.
yeah, it was like Playboy.
She did, but I mean, Daisy Fuentes did Playboy.
I don't know
think
about
so,
Daisy
yeah.
Fuentes, but the other two for sure.
So do you think? All right, so like, let's just take one example.
Pamela
Jenny,
Anderson, of course.
Jenny McCarthy. So she was on Singled Out and a few other things. Do you
Right.
think if she didn't do the Playboy spread, she wouldn't have made that leap to B-list,
No
A-list
chance.
celebrity?
Oh,
No
absolutely
chance.
not.
No
She was
chance.
famous for being
She
a
was
playmate.
Anna Nicole Smith.
Yeah.
Oh,
absolutely.
Well, how could she have had an acting career?
I'm
Rest in
just trying to
peace and
think
all,
of
but-
like soft, like quote unquote softcore, like Baywatch stars who didn't do the Playboy route and still
Right.
made a
Who-
career
do,
out
we-
of it.
do you know
They're
Pamela
not
Anderson?
around. Like Yasmin Bleeth. Where's she?
so she
she
didn't
at?
do Playboy, Yasmin Bleeth.
I don't know. Maybe
think so.
she did. I don't know.
I don't think
She was
so.
in basketball.
But
It's
she,
literally the
but
only
she
thing
still
I know.
made a career out of being a pretty girl. And then
but that's
unfortunately
for a
she
time,
hit 40 and Hollywood forgot about her.
I don't know.
She was on Nash Bridges.
I just think that like the centerfold had a like its peak
There was some
moment,
cachet in
his
the
peak
90s.
moment in the 90s for a
I
lot
agree
of
with you.
actresses.
Well, because it was right before the internet came along and kind of ruined all traditional
Playboy
media.
still do print?
Playboy
they
does,
just
but they
stopped?
recently just revamped the entire magazine.
Oh, it's not
There's
nude,
no
right?
nude photos anymore. They're trying to be like a Maxim type magazine.
FHM or whatever.
Right, which is weird because like I was at the airport recently. I just flew home and they had like Playboy on the stands now, just like out in the open. And it was like read Playboy, and it's like there's still a stigma to reading
I like
Playboy
to-
because not everybody knows that
Yeah,
it's not
yeah,
porn
and
anymore.
also-
yeah, I like my magazines in plastic bags. Thank you.
I would like some
I
discretion.
also think it's sad
airport.
that they're trying to be like FHM because that's legit. Because if I would look at like a Maxim or an FHM and be like, it's girls with basically wearing nothing, or they're holding they have two little fingertips over their
Sure.
nipples, or their nipples
Right.
are very prominent through a thin piece of fabric. It's like, oh, that's okay. That's not nude.
Well, I think a
Hugh
big,
Hefner would be. He's rolling over in his grave right now.
in his living grave.
yeah, I think a big problem that Playboy was having though is that they were doing like legitimate magazine work
Right,
and
right.
actual articles and actual
yeah.
things.
They do take that stuff serious, even though it's a joke. I only read it for the articles.
Right,
Those
but
articles
they actually
are
did have
yeah.
very good articles,
Yeah.
and they always did. It
Here
was
we
a men's
go, Dan.
magazine.
No,
Look,
Ian
Playboy
Fleming.
is great.
Ian Fleming wrote for them. They have very
Yeah,
interesting
they-
interviews. I'm assuming. I really,
yeah,
just,
I've never read the
I really
articles.
just looked at the voyeur Uma
Right.
Thurman
I
pictures.
literally cut out the pictures when I was okay. So this is funny, right? When I was like in 8th grade, we had a half day every third Thursday. So me and my other like 13-year-old buddies would go to the movie theater across the street.
Okay.
And this was like highlight of the month for us,
Definitely.
Catholic schoolboys getting out at 11 a.m. and going to Burger King and a movie.
Go to the movies.
We were walking
The Burger
down,
King on Tyson's?
We were walking
popular
down
hangout.
Tyson's Lane one day, right?
Yeah.
And it was
All you Staten Islanders are
it
loving
was,
this now.
It was garbage day. And this is like a fucking movie. Like I looking back, think somebody like must have planted it. We
Yeah.
were walking, and there was just in clear day on the ground a bundled up a stack of Playboys thrown out.
Oh my God.
And like it was tied up with like rope, and I'm telling you, like 12 little hands went in and like came out, and there was nothing left. There was just like all gone.
There's like piranhas on flesh, and there's
It
just,
was
brilliant.
there's just Playboy skeleton
It was so
bones.
funny
Yeah.
too because
Little bunny
so
ear
let me
skeleton.
so let me think. This was like 1995 ish,
Okay,
right?
yeah.
96, and I remember that the Playboys, while I gladly took, obviously,
Were
was,
these? Yeah.
it was from like 1988.
That's what I was gonna ask.
And there's like Playboys date themselves very quickly, which you wouldn't think because they're completely naked. in
There
them.
were certain styles
Yeah,
that
yeah.
came and went.
But like, I guess just like the hair and the
Right.
sort of, you know
The
what
hair
else you
for
could
sure.
tell too? If they were wearing like bikini bottoms, a lot of the ones in the early 80s were like super high.
Yeah.
Like kind of came up to almost like the mid waist. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
like Borat bikini.
So like, look, I'm not going to complain. I'm going to go home and check off things for sure. No complaints about free
Yeah.
boobs.
Yeah.
But it was just like, even at that age, I was like, oh, this is like some old.
This is old porn.
So I'm curious. We're open books, but we're not that open, and I don't think we should.
I'm an open
I don't
book.
think we should do too much TMI. But let's each reveal one type of thing that we prefer in porno.
Now?
Yeah, like what's one of your go-to
No,
keywords?
I would
What's one-
rather.
I would rather
I
not
would
do
rather
this.
keep
No.
this to when I was
Yeah.
13.
That's what I'm saying. I don't need to know all of them, but what's one keyword that
Women.
Women is my other.
All right, here,
is mine
I'll-
also.
I'm
No,
bra-
naked women,
I'm
naked
clearly
women.
braver than you guys, so I'll go out and say it. I
Oh,
actually,
Jack, please stop. I implore
See, yeah,
you to
I
stop
don't
this
know.
conversation.
This is exactly what Dan was talking about before.
I beg you,
I
Jack,
don't
I
wanna
beg you to
know.
not say whatever you
I
think.
like 80s. I like that 80s
Oh,
style.
behave.
I like that 80s style. I like those. I like the big bikinis that go high up. I like the aerobic outfits.
Do you search for 80s porn?
No, I don't. I don't know how to phrase it other than keyword. But if I see it, I like it. I never actually thought of that. Maybe
You're
I
the
will
opposite-
search 80s
opposite.
porn. I'm
Yeah,
gonna search
you-
it right
you
now.
prob-
Let's see what
no, we
happens.
don't need to do that
Can
right
I
now.
ask? Can I ask a weird question?
You sure can, Dan.
It does seem like we were talking about. You can tell porn from when it was dated. You know,
Yeah.
Look at that
Seem
big
like-
hair. I'm getting hard
All
right
right,
now.
okay. I,
Seemed like women, like Playboy
we're not
in the
that type of
60s.
show. We're not
Damn
this
it.
kind
Oh,
of show,
Jack.
Jack.
Jack's
it's
just
the-
like
it's-
looking through 80s
It's
porn.
the hair and the outfits that does it. Is that Cheetah Davis? No, couldn't be, right? Oh, look, I like
Not
this. A
Cheetah
walk
Davis.
down memory lane. See? it's a walk
This has
down,
gone horribly off trail.
90s porn
it's a
is the
walk,
topic.
It's a walk down memory lane.
Oh my god. You're like what was,
Take
that,
your cake off.
what was that show? David Tell had a show on
crap.
Showtime, right? It wasn't it Dave's Old Porn, where he would watch old porn and like do an audio commentary with like a porn
Really?
star or a friend. Yeah. I never actually watched it.
That's
I think it was on Showtime. You would probably like that show a lot, Jack, because they were literally showing old porn.
So what?
You could turn off the David Tell
I don't
piece
know,
and just watch it.
I guess I've never really thought to just search 80s porn. I bet
I mean,
you,
I wish
bet
you
it would
well
pop
with
up.
your
Yeah, of
vintage
course it
porn
will.
endeavor.
I don't know. I just like that look.
Vintage porn would probably
Vintage
also
porn.
help you out.
Okay.
But then I think you're getting into like the 60s,
No,
which
yeah,
is like
I don't want like 1920s.
pointier conical breasts because of the weird bras that they force women to wear.
Did it
Oh.
did it permanently affect their
That's
breasts?
interesting. I
I
never
think
thought
so,
about that.
right?
What did
All
you say?
right, well,
1960s?
well,
Oh my
look,
God, Jack, please stop.
As
I
three
beg
men,
you to. This is
we
this
would
is
know.
the thing. Is like,
Can we take the controller away from Jack?
yeah.
Because he is just Googling pornography. It's making
That
me a
woman
little bit
keeps coming
uncomfortable.
up. She's like a time traveling pornographic actress.
She's like that Nicolas Cage vampire.
She was in the 60s and the 80s
Which
and the
one?
90s.
Which
the
one?
one on the bottom right.
This one?
Yeah.
Oh, this is clearly not
that's
60s porn.
60s.
That is a full color image.
Yeah,
that's
that
from a
is-
video.
She is a
That's HD.
time traveler.
But this is not good podcasting. We're looking at a bunch of black and white pornographic pictures. I don't know why.
Oh, I like that one too. That one said "Days Gone By" porn. I like these walk down memory lane. Days Gone
What
By.
this
I'm
is an
so glad-
R-rated.
Yeah, we're earning the
90s
explicit tag this week.
percentile
Yeah,
episode.
My
yeah.
name is Richie Cunningham.
One day we'll get back to talking about Super Soakers and Crossfire.
Well, I think we're talking about
I've
Super
lost
Soakers.
my mojo.
Okay,
boy,
do
all
you
right.
want to? Should we talk about something else? Because
I think it's
we're
time for
veering
another
into
topic.
really creepy territory.
Yeah, we are.
I
Jack
hope
is
that
veering into
everybody
creepy
listening
territory.
knows that we're three normal men.
I think it's a
Nothing
shame.
Weird.
I think it's a shame that you think it's creepy to talk about this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't need to.
I didn't need to know your
I don't
tastes.
like. That's a very personal experience for me. I don't need anybody to enhance
But that's
it
what
for
we're
me.
about. We're
All right,
about
guys.
a walk down memory lane.
We're
The
reaching-
days gone by.
Oh boy, we're reaching
Can't
into
even
the random
look
topic
to you in
generator.
the eye right now.
So here we go. Here's our topic,
can look
guys.
at this
Porn
eye.
again.
The topic is porn again.
80s
No.
vintage porn.
No, we're
a
going
walk down memory lane.
The complete opposite of porn. The topic is Bobcat Goldthwait, suggested by Mr. Spider Clown.
Wow, thank you.
I believe a
That's
friend of
great
ours on
topic.
Twitter. So Bobcat Goldthwait, I love Bobcat Goldthwait. He has become, this is not the 90s, but he's become a very good director, especially now. I don't know if you guys saw World's Greatest Dad, but it was a
did.
terrific movie.
I watched
I
that
did. I
recently.
watched it with a bunch of people. It's
not a movie to watch with a
during
bunch of people.
heat wave, and the air was broken, and it was
That's
just like
not the ideal
I
conditions.
don't have good memories of it.
There were a lot of people in the 90s that I feel like my mom just hated everybody in the 90s. And so there's a lot of people that I've like had just preconceived like hatred for. She like
Right.
hated Bobcat Goldthwait. She hated
think
Janine Garofalo.
So
She
Bob-
hated Bill Cosby, which ended up coming.
Well,
that
she
one
was,
worked out
She was
for her.
prescient on that one, but I think a lot of people didn't like Bobcat Goldthwait or got sick of his character that he would do.
Yeah,
talk
right,
like that.
right.
Yeah.
You know,
It's a
that's
good way
not-
to get noticed, but then
Should we,
It
should, we,
is.
should we do a quick
That's not his actual
who he
voice.
is for people who don't
Yeah,
might not
he's
know?
a stand-up comic.
Yeah, according
Um,
to Wikipedia, he was born in '62. His name is Robert Goldthwait, and Bobcat
did
was his
like a-
nickname. He was in
Right,
that
he was
late
nervous
'70s,
guy
early
type of-
'80s stand-up scene with like Robin Williams. He was actually
in
one of his
He's very good.
friends.
Was very
Yeah.
good friends with Robin Williams. Yeah,
Scrooge,
he was in Scrooge.
other is acting
He's also very
credits.
good friends with Tom Kenny, the voice of SpongeBob, and they
Okay.
used to have a two-person act where it was Bobcat and Tomcat,
remember
and that's
that,
why
yeah.
he became Bobcat. And
I
he
do
did
remember that.
just kind of stuck, and he just kept using it.
And people were shocked. SpongeBob. Tom Kenny was actually on Mr. Show.
Oh, yeah.
and-
No,
and,
Tom
yeah,
Kenny's-
he's a big comic.
Very funny guy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of what I knew him from. I guess it was Police
the
Academy.
biggest thing was probably Police Academy. That
and
was
he's
big
only in
when we were kids.
He's only in 2, 3, and 4.
What are his acting credits besides Scrooge and Police Academy?
Scrooge is another one. He plays the disgruntled worker that Bill Murray
Yeah.
fires, and he comes back with a shotgun. Spoilers
points.
for Scrooged.
Tape Heads. He was
Police
Jack
Academy.
Cheese. Shakes the Clown.
One Crazy Summer, I remember.
Oh, yeah.
He
One
fooled
Crazy
an
Summer I know him
interviewing
from.
during a phone interview impersonating Dave Grohl once.
Dave Grohl does sound like this.
That sounded like Freet from Worst Episode Ever.
You know what I think of did you guys see the newest season of Louie by any chance?
I have not.
No.
I'm way behind.
There's like a scene where there's this like kid who goes up before Louis and he's like really bad at comedy. And he's just like telling these jokes that are like, when I was 8, I wet my bed and my mom beat me and I would wet my bed more. And it like wasn't funny.
Yeah.
And like he was like, Louis, can you please give me advice on my comedy? And Louis is just like, you should give up, man. I hate to tell you, but like you should give up.
Yeah.
And he's like, I can't give up comedy. It's my life. Like, can you tell me something else? Anything.
Right.
And he was just like, do a funny voice. I don't know. And so the end of the episode, he's like watching like Jimmy Kimmel, and they're like, "Oh, our next comedian," and it was the kid, and he was like, "When I was 8, I used to pee my pants, and my mom would beat me."
That is actually pretty funny.
I don't think that was the last season because I think I've seen
Okay.
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it was-
think
I
I
don't
have
know.
seen
Whatever it
that.
was. But yeah, one of the things I remember Bobcat Goldthwait from, I don't know if it's even on the Wikipedia page, but this is a 90s thing. He was on Unhappily Ever After. He was the voice
yeah,
of
the rabbit.
the rabbit. I forget his name, Mr. something.
I don't know, but then he married Nikki Cox, who was like 16 or
I
17
don't know
at
if
the
they
time.
ever got married. They were definitely engaged.
Maybe
they got
I would
married.
rather if we had drawn Nikki Cox and.
Well, we
Okay,
talked enough about 90s porn.
I feel like I
Was she
feel
a
like
porn
she was
star?
in.
No, she
no,
wasn't,
but she was in
very
that.
attractive in the 90s. And was probably masturbated
have
to
not-
by
I
at
have-
least one person in this
I
podcast.
have not heard
No, I
that
guess
name. In
I
quite
guess
a-
he didn't marry her.
But yeah, he was famous for Mr. Floppy. That was his name in Unhappily Ever After. I always all remember him. There was a show on Cartoon Network called, I think it was called Moxie and Flea. No. It was just like a framing sequence around which they showed like old Bugs Bunny cartoons, and it was Bobcat Goldthwait. I don't know why I remember this.
He did the He did
I'm
a voice
sure-
on Capital Critters.
Yeah, I remember that
which
too.
I'm sure is in our RTG. And what's the other one I just saw? Oh, Hercules, which I don't think I've ever seen. The Disney movie Hercules.
Oh, he was in Hercules.
I know James Woods and Jason
It's not
Alexander.
great.
in it, but
It has problems.
Yeah.
it was him and Matt Frewer. It was Pain
Oh,
and
I love
Panic.
Matt Frewer.
Matt Frewer, of course, famously Trash Can
Yeah,
Man.
Trash
Worst
Can
band.
Man.
I don't know. Like
Russell from
What,
Honey, I Shrunk
what do
the
you
Kids.
guys
That's
think
right.
of the gimmick of doing like a
funny voice?
Funny voice, or
Dan loves it.
Bobcat
I
Goldthwait,
think funny
or,
voices are very funny.
Gilbert Gottfried, or it's just
Gilbert
a gimmick that you
Gottfried-
can never get away from.
Gilbert Gottfried
If you're
is just
good
an
at it.
exaggeration of his actual voice.
If you're good at it and you can make it work, you know, a lot of comics
I'm-
have personas.
Yeah, but then
the only difference
I
with them
think-
is they also add a
But
voice
I
to
think
that
like
persona.
a lot of things, you can fall back on it as a crutch and be hacky with it. But I always thought Bobcat Goldthwait was actually very funny, and I like him. You know, he
Right.
definitely went through a period like the Police Academy movies where he was playing to type and just being like the wacky guy who talks like
Was
this.
that voice that voice was that created for Zed in Police Academy 2?
No, I think
He was doing it
I think he
already?
was doing it already in his stand-up. I don't believe he does the voice anymore. I don't know. I guess I'm probably the biggest fan. It seems like on this.
Yeah,
this podcast.
I don't know
I
much
truly
about
enjoy
him.
him. I just don't know that much.
I
about
really
him.
like his movies nowadays. He did a very odd movie called Sleeping
Shorties
Dogs
watching
Lie.
Shorties. Is that what you're talking about?
No,
No,
that's a
that
totally
was that
different
Comedy
thing.
Central show.
But have you guys ever seen Sleeping Dogs Lie? Have you ever heard of it?
No. I've heard
Very,
of it.
very strange movie. It was his. He did it in like 2006, and this woman just decides to blow her dog.
Oh, I have heard.
She
about
just
this.
decides to blow the dog, and she does
Arbitrarily?
it just arbitrarily, and then it's all about like living with the
Let's
consequences
Google
of
this.
that.
Let's Google video this.
No, we don't need to do that. It's a phenomenally strange movie. I don't really recommend it.
Okay.
But his movie after that
You
was
don't
World's
actually see her
Greatest
blow
Greatest
the
Dad
dog,
was-
right? Because that would be porn.
World's
Bestiality.
Greatest
It's not a
Dog
real dog.
is quite disgusting as well. Like
World's
it's-
Greatest Dad is,
it-
you know,
yeah, we're-
the kid in World's Greatest
I
Dad
saw-
Dies
dies
autoerotic
from autoerotic
asphyxiation.
asphyxiation.
Yeah.
I saw
yeah.
God Bless America. Right?
God Bless America
he did that
also-
with
Oh,
Joe
right,
Murray.
right, yeah.
That was a good one. That's about people murdering people to save America. I don't know.
I'm good with a new topic.
Well, I mean, what
Oh,
else
I
we got
did.
from
I did see
Bobcat?
his episode of Ben Stiller show.
I'm not so ready to move off.
I have seen that. There's the Moxie show,
The Moxie Show. Maybe it was just Moxie Show.
and according to this, it was.
He was also on
I
Space
can't
Ghost Coast to Coast
quite
a number
get
of
a
times.
clear
I would
answer
like.
on whether
I like the
when the
idea
voice
of
starts.
picturing him going in like to a movie studio, and they're like, "Okay, Bobcat, thanks for meeting with us. So, what's your movie about? This woman blows her dog, right? Like she sucks him off."
Well,
It's
actually,
a weird movie. It was
actually,
very independent.
It's funny you say that because if you haven't noticed, check your podcast feed. A couple days ago, we released our first mini-sode, episode 9.5, and we did a short tribute to Gary Shandling, and we talked about the Larry Sanders Show. And Bobcat did a great episode of Larry Sanders where he played a guest host, or maybe, no, I think he was going to be the show that's after, like the Late Late Show. And Gary Larry Sanders loved him, but the network was like, oh, we can't have this guy because he's doing the crazy voice and he sets the couch on fire. And it really was pretty much, it's like, what if Bobcat Goldthwait, the persona, was in a network executive meeting?
Right,
and that was
right.
the episode, and it was great.
I got to rewatch that one and rewatch all of Larry Sanders once
He was
HBO
engaged
gets
to
it back
Nikki
up
Cox
there.
for 8 years.
Yeah.
That was a very long engagement.
He just had a movie come out last year. It was a documentary called Call Me Lucky about this comedian whose name I don't remember, but it was supposed to be excellent. And I have not seen it. He was... I don't want to spoil it, but
Okay.
there's something about it that is revealed in the documentary, and you guys should check it out. Even though I haven't watched it yet.
It's real. It's true.
Yeah. No, it's a serious documentary, unlike the blowing of the dogs movie.
All right, so here's...
Toured with Nirvana.
maybe I'm combining
He did. He
things.
opened for Nirvana on one of their tours, and he was mercilessly booed because people who wanted to see Nirvana did not want to see Bobcat Goldthwait.
I think that's a
Kurt
cool-
Cobain was a huge fan.
I think they should do more of that, where you have a stand-up open for a rock band, or a rock band open for stand-up, rather
I've
than
booked
keep
those
it.
before.
Yeah,
I think that's an interesting
Keep it
idea.
interesting. He directed Chappelle's show.
He set Leno's couch on
Yeah,
fire.
so that was what was referenced in Larry Sanders, where they were like, "We
don't
can't have
remember
this
that.
guy on." He set Leno's couch on fire. Because again, we talked about this on our mini-sode 2 days ago. But the show was actually really good at incorporating current events. Because I think when the show started, Leno might not have taken over yet, and then the whole late night wars. They were
Yeah.
really cool about that. He
Yeah.
was fired from Hollywood Squares.
yeah,
Yeah, apparently no one
they
would
yanked
call
me
him.
out of the square.
I snapped. It's
for
tic tac toe. You fucking jackass.
We're
And they-
reading. By the way, we're reading 9 things to remember about Bobcat Goldthwait from mentalfloss.com.
They told him don't swear at the contestants.
good rule of thumb in general.
He doesn't really sound like that. Okay. It looks like with Tomcat and Bobcat, that's when he started the voice. No,
Yeah.
it doesn't say that. That's when his vocal cords began to crack. I guess it looks like it was definitely before Police Academy.
Yeah, I didn't know he was clean and sober and has been for 30 years, but good for
Good
him.
for him.
Get cleaned up, get your shit together. Good man, Bobcat.
I would say that Police Academy 2, I've said this before, is my favorite of the Police Academy movies, and I think a lot of it has to do with Zed.
Police Academy 4, you said?
2.
Oh, 2. Okay.
He's Zed in 3 and 4, but he's a cop in those movies. And in he's the bad guy in the second one. He's just a little bit more crazy.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, no, he's a lot of fun in those movies.
All right. I don't have anything else to say about Bobcat. We have enough time. We could do one more topic.
We can do one more.
Do it, baby.
All right, let's do one more.
Porn again.
Here we go. Next topic.
I shagged her.
Wow, this is like a
The next topic is I shagged her. No, our next topic is
Oprah.
Oprah.
It's not Oprah.
Saucer of milk, table 2.
It's a topic I don't know that we can cram into the next 11 minutes, but we'll try. It's Pokemon, suggested by Megan.
I don't know
I have
shit about
nothing
Pokemon.
to say about Pokemon.
I have lots to say about
I
Pokemon,
know
but I
that-
don't want to talk to myself.
I know that
That's
I'm-
a longer. Well,
I know that
Dan just doesn't want to
No,
talk
I
don't
about
wanna talk
Pokemon.
about
I think we could do this. I
no,
know,
no, Pokemon.
All right,
we
let's-
can't.
We're gonna save it. We'll save it and we'll put
save
it back in the. Dan gets one. That was your one, Dan.
He already got one. It was porn.
No, he gets one to skip. All right, so our next topic is the X-Men animated series that was submitted by
Damn it.
Brent.
All right, go back to.
Yeah, I got a lot more to
That
say
we can
about
talk
that
about.
than Pokemon.
Yeah.
So
I'm sitting
that's
this
why you
one
can't.
It's not as good as you remember it before. I just want to say that right now. The X-Men animated series is not as good as
Now,
you
what do
remember
you
it.
mean by that? The storytelling, the dialogue,
It's
the animation?
The animation, all of it. I like the voices. I actually thought the voices
Because
are good.
I've never watched X-Men in full. I watched the first 2 seasons about 5 years ago on Netflix, and
So it's interesting. At the time, Fox in the early 90s had a lot of animated superhero shows. Batman was on, and Batman, the animated series, is a phenomenal
Yes.
series that holds up for children of all ages. And they also had X-Men and Spider-Man. And what I always thought was weird is the X-Men and the Spider-Man animated series were heavily serialized.
Yeah.
Spider-Man a little bit more so than
I remember
X-Men.
Spider-Man. I never watched these religiously, but Spider-Man I watched a lot more in syndication later on.
Yeah.
I remember after season 1, basically every episode would be like the Spider's Web Part 26.
Yeah, Sins of the Father, Part 2271.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, Spider-Man was much more guilty of that than X-Men, but X-Men definitely did it too. There were like season-long arcs.
Yeah. That's
Kind
what I
of
was
like
going to say.
ahead of its time kind of
That's
stuff.
what I'm saying. I'm surprised you're saying it doesn't hold up.
Well, at the time, it wasn't a good idea because people weren't watching it religiously like that. I don't even remember when it was on. I know it premiered at night. They aired the first 2 episodes as like a primetime special.
But I feel like those kinds of shows you do watch every day because you're watching it at like 4:30 after school Monday to Friday.
It wouldn't necessarily always air in order.
That's how I
It was
watch
very
Spider-Man.
strange.
I always watched it in order the same day every day after school.
See, I remember never ever seeing like Spider-Man in order. I've watched it in order since, but yeah, I don't know. X-Men was. It doesn't
So
hold
you're
up
saying it
because
doesn't hold up because it's ahead of its time?
No. That's not why I'm saying it doesn't hold up. It's not the serialization. That's something that threw me off when I was a kid. As an adult, I was turned off by the terrible storytelling and the bad animation.
But bad animation's a part of everything.
Batman the animated series looks
Well,
phenomenal
Batman
today.
looks beautiful, but a lot of shows
Even
have
Spider-Man, I think, doesn't
Spider-Man
look
looks
bad.
great too, but there's a lot of shows that have that ugly style. Like even something like Bob's Burgers is,
But X-Men was not intentionally an ugly style. It was aping the Jim Lee art, which was popular at the time. When it launched, X-Men Comics, Jim Lee had just done a redesign. They had spun off into the X-Men solo book.
and you just
It was
don't
a whole
like. So you
thing.
don't like the aesthetic, or
No, the actual animation is bad. Like it was very, very cheaply done.
okay?
And they're on the record for saying, like, yes, it was a very cheap to produce show.
What about the acting?
I think the acting is good. The guy that did Wolverine, I think his name was Cal Dodd or something like that. He's like still the.
He's my Wolverine.
He's my
yeah.
Wolverine
Yeah,
voice.
I
yeah.
don't know, bub.
Yeah, he's great. Dan has nothing to say on this topic, by the way. He's sitting back, folding his arms. He looks like such a cyclops right now. Am I right?
So what else? So basically, the animation doesn't hold up. But
Yeah,
the
but
storytelling does. The acting does.
No, the storytelling doesn't.
all
A
right.
lot of it is just not. It doesn't.
What's like a bad storyline?
Let's say this. Well, there's a whole complicated mess where they bring Cable and Bishop in, and there's
I
like
thought that was very
multiple
well
timelines.
received.
X-Men in general is a very convoluted series, and it's tough to
But didn't a lot of
boil
people
it down
say
to a
that
Saturday
like
morning
Days of
cartoon
Future
show.
Past, the movie, was a letdown because it wasn't as good as the cartoons' take on the story?
No, the cartoon's take on the story was terrible.
Was it a shit show?
I remember Bishop went to limbo and talked to some magic elf in like it was a dimensionless void. It was an all white dimension void.
I do love my voids.
You do love your voids, but yeah, it's what's weird is most people would probably not agree with me, but I actually really liked X-Men Evolution a lot better.
I never
Do you remember
watched
that
it. Is
show?
that where they're in high school?
It started off, it was the X-Men in high school, and the first season was pretty shitty, but it got so much better, and it became more, I guess, gritty, for lack of a better word. They dropped the high school thing in season 2.
I remember just seeing them in like leather jackets and stuff. I
And
was
that
like, thanks,
also
but
became
no
it
thanks.
became very serialized, and they were doing like really great stuff. They were just about to do like an Age of Apocalypse thing, and then it got canceled.
Why did it get canceled?
I don't know. Well, they canceled it, and then they did Wolverine and the X-Men, and that was only a one-season
That's
show
a
that was
third
really
universe?
good. Yeah.
That's third completely separate.
Yeah,
Why do
and
they keep doing
I
that?
think they're doing another X-Men animated series soon. Why they keep doing it? There's money to be made.
I had the X-Men, I think it was an animated series, X-Men, Tiger Electronics handheld game.
Oh, yeah, I remember
it was
those.
really terrible.
Those were not
Dan, you have
great.
any Tiger Electronic games?
Yeah, I don't remember which ones I had though.
I had Full House, although it was technically... It was
Full House?
Yeah, it was
What the
technically...
hell is a video
shitty
game for
one.
Full
It was
House?
technically my sister's, but I played it all the time.
Yeah.
It was you're Michelle, and people are throwing like cans of soup at you down a hallway, and you have to move left and right to
much
dodge
like
them.
in the show,
Just like
when they
that
would just throw
famous
cans
episode.
of soup.
Whatever happened to the can of soup I threw?
You know, I got spoiled.
Hey, Fuller House. You guys watched that yet?
Absolutely.
We watched the pilot the
Wait,
other
you
night.
really did?
I've seen every episode, yes.
And
It's terrible.
yeah,
But it's exactly what you'd expect it
I
would
Yeah,
just
it was.
I fucking hate this like
Nostalgia
if
culture?
internet wants it. They'll be like, okay, and then
Why do you
people
hate that?
forget it because people forget about it right away. People are
So?
like, oh my god, I want Full House to come back, and they did, and people are like, OMG, and it's like it's terrible. And I'm like, oh well, all right,
Yeah, but they
never
got
mind.
what they want. What's wrong
What
with
the
that?
fuck? Why do we have to do that?
I mean, you're glad you got What Higher American Summer, aren't you?
I didn't demand that back.
No, but aren't you glad? Isn't it better to have it?
I'll say
and
this
not
though,
have it?
Fuller House was like a phenomenal success, and they're doing another season.
Yeah.
And it's
God.
like, yeah, it's for kids. It's a kids show.
Doesn't
Oh,
hurt
okay.
you. Yeah.
It's just it's
no,
It's
fuck those
cheesy.
people.
It's
May they
cheesy.
never work again.
I think
it's
it
cheesy
was-
in the same way that Full House is
I'm
cheesy.
wondering if it was more. I mean, I know they were trying to get this off the ground for a while, but I'm wondering if it got made because Girl Meets World was a success,
Almost certainly, yes.
and they saw
Was
there
that a success too?
yeah.
Jesus, it's amazing things can be success without me watching it.
And basically, it's the same idea of the kids now are the parents. No, I got spoiled with Tiger Electronics because the first one I had, well, pretty much every Tiger Electronics game was exactly the same. Move left or right to dodge the
yeah, they were not very
But
unique.
the very first one I had for years before I got other ones was actually really good, and it was just called Miniature Golf, and it was 18 mini golf courses, and it was great because it was one of the few Tiger games that wasn't like all the other
I
ones,
feel
and
like
it was a good use of the
every
Yeah.
system that
limited
comes
medium.
along, the first thing they do is make a golf game.
yeah, I guess
Well,
it's easy.
it was just this was a great use of that limited Tiger medium, and then Wolverine was terrible.
I don't
Full House was
remember which
terrible.
one I
Yeah.
had. I don't remember at all.
we will probably talk about Tiger. Someone
Oh,
should
bowling. I
suggest
think I
Tiger
had a bowling
Electronics.
one. I think I had a
we
bowling
should talk about this
Bowling
at
could be
length.
fun.
Yeah, I
can
think I
see
had that.
bowling being a
Well,
good one.
we only have a few minutes left. I want to bring it back to X-Men. I want to talk about the action figure line that went
Okay.
along with the X-Men
Yeah.
animated
I
series.
had a couple
because
Wolverines.
those were great.
Yeah.
Those were awesome. I think I mentioned in our Ninja Turtles episode that I used to have a whole bunch of comic toys. They're all gone now, which is very sad. But I had the X-Men Blackbird Jet, which was fucking awesome, and I got that for Christmas one year, and it was just the best gift. It was like this
It's
huge.
amazing how those things are just like the ultimate Christmas gift.
Yeah,
And you get
oh,
so excited,
absolutely.
and they probably cost your parents like $40.
Yeah, I don't know how much it costs, but I was very happy to get it. It was worth its weight in gold in my young mind because you could put characters in it. There
Yep.
was like a Cerebro chair in it, so I could put I always used to put. I had Weapon X Wolverine, and
I
I,
had
would put
Weapon
him
X
in
where
there.
he's like naked and he has like
Yeah.
green.
I was like, I want
cables.
that naked Wolverine figure, mommy,
I had,
please.
I had him, and I had like a orange and maroon Wolverine. With one arm.
that was the. Oh, I didn't have a. I think the one arm was probably something you did.
It was
Okay.
95% of my action figures had one arm.
Nice. It was a dark time. That happened a lot in the 90s
I like to
comics, too.
recreate masturbatory scenes quite
What?
often, and the arms would just fling right off.
Wait, what?
No, I'm being facetious.
I know you're being facetious, but that was all right.
Well, come up with another jokey ways an arm could come off.
It's like he just
Like
he
if
just
you-
fell off.
like if you blew
He's
your-
waving to
What is he-
somebody.
he's
his
got-
arm
oh
falls
no,
off.
Wolverine's got
Yeah,
leprosy.
like
Maybe
crash test dummies.
like if your dog bit it off after you blew him.
That could happen.
It could happen.
So you've seen Let Sleeping Dog Lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Apocalypse was a much bigger part of the animated series than he was really in the comics. He was a fairly new character. He was like created in '86.
Oh, all right. Because
The
I
movie's
always got
coming
the
out,
sense that
X-Men
he was
Apocalypse.
a huge character.
He's not really a huge character. He kind of became a huge character after.
I know
the
I know the
animated
basics
series.
about him. I don't like my X-Men knowledge is minuscule
Ah,
compared to
yeah.
my Batman Superman.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't really know much about Apocalypse besides that he's like the first mutant and he's
Right.
thousands of years old and he has the Four Horsemen.
I would say X-Men Apocalypse, the movie that's coming out this year, owes a lot to X-Men the Animated Series because they made Apocalypse into a very big deal.
Yeah, I can
on the
see
show.
that. And then people have been asking for Apocalypse since like X-Men 3, basically.
Yeah, and it doesn't
Although
look good.
we've been joking about how Oscar Isaac looks exactly like
Ivan Ooze from the
Ooze,
Power
but I've
Rangers
seen
movie.
a couple of new trailers, and I think basically his suit when they were filming looked like Ivan Ooze, and then they've changed it and
fixed it
they
in
color
post.
corrected in post, and I think they just used like that horrible bright purple pink for shooting purposes,
Right.
and they always intended him to look a little bit bluer.
Maybe,
But
I
he
don't
still
know.
does kind of look like Ivan Ooze.
He still looks. It looks very Power Rangers.
At the trailer, I was a huge X-Men fan. I love the first two movies, love them.
Yeah,
I like
love
First
them.
Class a lot. I thought the Wolverine was pretty good,
Yeah, it was alright.
but I really just the trailer did nothing for me. I mean, I know it's impossible to go by a trailer, but it just looks so boring and just like it's like Olivia Munn like slicing a thing in half with a sword. I'm just like, whatever.
It
Who
looks
cares?
like more of the same, and I'm just kind of tired of him.
I don't
at
like
this
Olivia
point.
Munn that much either. I don't get her.
I like Olivia Munn.
She's okay. I like her.
I don't
My
get- I
wife
don't get the
really
charisma.
hates her.
I don't get
and
the
I don't really know why.
Because your wife hates women. She just
Don't
hates.
Finish the sentence.
She-
Don't know where you're
Finish
going
the
with this.
sentence.
No, we've talked about this
I know
with
we've
her.
talked
She
about-
hates attractive actresses.
Yes,
just because they're attractive.
just
Yes.
because.
My girlfriend does too.
She hates. What's her name there? Kate.
Kate Upton.
Kate Upton.
She
hates her.
hates Kate Upton, but
She'll be like, I love Janelle.
so-
I just want to say, but she'll
Yeah.
be like, yeah, she's hot. If you like women with no waist, like she
Here's
just
the thing.
no hips and no waist.
we're getting off topic with X-Men. But here's the thing about my
I
wife.
wish,
My wife.
She hates
My
women
wife.
who she feels are playing up a certain character type to appeal to men.
Do I make you horny, baby?
So Kate Upton, she thinks, puts on like a baby kind of thing
I
to
don't
appeal
like
to
that.
men.
Yeah, no, I appreciate-
and Olivia
What is,
Munn,
what is she not
I-
like? Oh, because she's like a geek.
because she's like,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
a geek girl.
I feel
like
like
hanging out at
it's
the comic
not
book
my
store.
place to be a part of this type of conversation, but I do feel like I do get that vibe from Olivia Munn where she's just like, I'm really hot. Then like,
But does she do that too much anymore? That like geek.
Not really now. She definitely did do it. She was one of the hosts of Attack of the Show
Right,
back
right,
in the
right.
day. I think that's when it was kind of
yeah,
at its
I mean, I have
apex.
no qualms against attractive women, and I think they can be a lot more.
Bravo,
than, and I,
Jack.
yeah, and I think they're a lot more than, especially
You just
80s,
wish it was in the 80s.
especially
yeah.
80s
Or
attractive
possibly
women
60s.
doing their
Oh man,
aerobics.
imagine Olivia Munn.
Just doing
What she looked like
She
in the
was
80s.
20 years older
those
than me.
deep tan lines and
Yeah.
that pale
They
white.
didn't get tanning right in the
boobies.
80s. What was up with that?
That's what I like,
They did
baby.
not
I
get
like
tanning right.
that wrong
Is that
tan.
that's what turned you on? Is
I
tan
like
lines?
a brown chest and a completely white stripe across the back.
I think it comes down to tan lines, hair, and the outfits. I think that's what makes me hard.
Jesus.
So that's X-Men.
I'm hard right now.
Yeah, X-Men, everybody.
You guys want to
That's
see?
X-Men.
The
No, I would
aristocrats.
not like to see Jack. Yeah, people look back fondly. We only have 45 seconds left. People look fondly on the X-Men animated series. If you rewatch it again, I don't think it holds up.
All right,
it
real
was
quick.
on
I
Netflix.
guess we really should mention this though, real quick. The theme song is exactly the same as Whitney Houston's "Whatever You Want
Oh,
from
yeah.
Me."
Dun, dun,
Whatever
dun,
you
dun,
want
dun,
from me.
dun,
Wait,
dun,
you
dun,
know the
dun,
X-Men theme really
dun,
well, right? I'm going to quickly
dun,
play
Dun,
"Whatever You Want from Me."
You better hurry. We're running out of time.
I know. I don't think we're gonna make it, but I'll try. My iTunes loads very slowly
Why didn't you just use YouTube?
because then we'd have to sit through the ad. And
Oh, we're not gonna make it. We only have 19
we got 10
seconds
seconds
left.
All right, keep singing X-Men. I couldn't search it in time.
I
couldn't make it.
Well,
I couldn't make
Dun
it.
dun 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 dun. All right,
I tried.
we tried. So that is it for this episode of 90s Percentile. But as always, now that our time is up, Dan, we like to find out, what did you learn today? What did we all learn today?
I learned some things about Jack that honestly, like,
I love the 80s
I wish
porn.
I did. Yeah, I like that. Remember that show that was like, I love the 80s? They
Yeah.
could have Jack on and just be
love
like,
the
Jack, what
80s.
did you think of like
Tan
Slinky?
lines.
Yeah, Jack, what did you think of Slinkies? Oh, I fucking love the women in the 80s. Oh, God.
Oh my god!
And Ronald Reagan, remember him?
Yeah.
I saw Playboy with him.
I love my Ronald Reagan porn. well.
He did say well a lot.
Did say well a lot. Jack, what did you learn today?
So what I learned is that the X-Men theme song has the exact same melody as this. And it would be like laser sound effects.
yeah.
and-
Yeah. All right.
That's what I
A
learned.
lot of songs.
Well,
sounded
actually,
the same
I
to me.
already knew that. What I learned is that you guys just learned that.
That's right. What did I learn today? I learned that talking about having seen that Bobcat Goldthwait movie where a woman blows a dog is probably strange. I should not talk about it anymore.
I also
won't
learned
do
what
that.
a dildonic is. So.
Yeah, then we all learned something there. All right, guys. If you want more content from us, from We Studios, we have our Simpsons show. That's worst episode ever. That comes out every Thursday. Check that out. We also have our Sync Points episodes.
Yeah, Batman vs Superman just came out this weekend.
Yep.
We have Batman commentary out, and we
Batman
have a
89,
Superman Returns commentary.
Superman Returns.
You can stream those both online, and you can listen to our commentaries.
Yes. Well, you can't stream them. You have to download them, and they're $2 each.
No,
So-
I mean you could stream the movies.
Oh, you can stream the movies online. Yeah, but to get our Sync Points, you should go to our website, wepodcast.com.
We want the monies.
We want that money. As always, click through our Amazon links on both wepodcast.com and 90spercentile.wordpress.com. We're going to get rid of that website, I think,
We're
and
working
everything's
on that.
going to be on
In the meantime,
wepodcast.com.
while we're restructuring all that, we would love more 5-star iTunes reviews.
Absolutely. Guys have been great. We've gotten a bunch.
We've done
and got
really
some great
well so
reviews.
far. But we want more. We're trying to get into that. Let's be honest. We're trying to get into that iTunes new and noteworthy.
We're trying to get some of that iTunes money.
Oh,
That's what we
some
want.
of that iTunes money. We want some of that Tim Cook money.
That's exactly
before
right.
the FBI takes it all away.
Yeah, they
I think-
may
I
not-
don't- I,
they may-
I sort of follow the news. I don't
They
know.
may not need that anymore. Supposedly, someone came forward and said they could
Yeah,
do
I'm
it.
sure Tim Cook did that behind the scenes.
Dan, thank you so much for being our
Yeah.
guest today.
Can I plug something?
You
Before
can
I go?
absolutely plug
It's
whatever
actually
you'd like.
just a quick question I want to ask both of you guys. Do I make you horny? Yeah. Oh God, it happened in the '90s.
You don't want to plug your Twitter handle or anything?
Oh yeah, it's at yeah baby
It's at Oprah.
at Oprah. So yeah, you can find me at Oprah.
There you go. He's
On
at
Twitter.
Oprah.
No, what do you got a huge Twitter
It's
following? What's
at Dan Ozzi.
I only
don't-
realized the other day that you have a verified Twitter.
yeah,
You got
it's
that little
really
check,
me.
bro.
It's really me.
you.
we
At
got
Dan Ozzi.
two successful podcasts. We can't get that check.
I have like 50 followers on
It
Twitter.
was so
I'm not verified.
You wouldn't believe how hard it was to get at Oprah verified for me, but it was. It
I'm
was
sure it was. I am at Then Dan Says. God damn it,
I'm not
Jack.
Jackie No Breaks.
And the show, of course, is at 90s Percentile. That's it for this episode. My name is Dan.
My name is Jack, and we'll see you in another decade.
Yeah, baby.
Oprah.